Okay, so you want to own a gas station. You picture a tall price sign beside a busy road, a row of pumps under a bright canopy, and cars entering the property from morning until midnight. Every driver stops for the same reason. The vehicle needs fuel, the tank is nearly empty, and the customer may spend $50 or $70 before leaving. From the outside, it looks like one of the simplest businesses in America. Buy gasoline wholesale, store underground, sell it for more at the pump. Repeat the process thousands of times every month. That is the dream, and it is not entirely wrong. The problem is that the $70 displayed on the pump is not $70 of revenue the owner gets to keep. Most of it has already been claimed by crude oil, refining, transportation, taxes, the fuel supplier, and the card network before the station pays one employee. The customer sees an expensive product. The owner sees a narrow number of cents between the delivered cost and the street price across the road. That difference is the entire business. Before we talk about money, we need to define what a gas station actually is. A small fuel kiosk beside a supermarket is not the same business as a neighborhood convenience store with 6 pumps. A branded dealer operating under a major oil company sign is not the same asset as an independent operator purchasing unbranded fuel. A rural travel center serving trucks is different from an urban station that depends on commuters, lottery traffic, and late-night store sales. A high-volume operator may deliberately sell gasoline cheaply to attract traffic. A food-focused convenience store may treat the pumps as an outdoor billboard for pizza, coffee, and breakfast. They all sell fuel, but they do not all make money from the same place. This is the first thing nobody tells you. You are not really buying a tank full of gasoline. You are buying a piece of traffic. The station earns the right to interrupt thousands of journeys and place a store directly beside a purchase drivers cannot postpone forever. Fuel creates the stop. The rest of the business determines what that stop is worth. Start with the location. A restaurant can persuade customers to travel several miles for a meal. A gas station usually has to capture a driver who is already moving through the area. That makes the road more important than the building. Traffic volume matters, but traffic direction also matters. A station on the wrong side of a divided highway may be visible to thousands of drivers who cannot enter conveniently. The turning lane matters. The entrance width matters. The speed of traffic matters. The distance to the next intersection matters. A busy road can still produce a bad station if entering the property feels dangerous or leaving it requires an unwanted detour. The strongest parcel does not simply have cars passing in front of it. It allows those cars to become customers with very little effort. Then comes competition. Gasoline is one of the easiest products in retail to compare. The price is printed in numbers large enough to be read from the road, and a competing station may stand directly across the intersection. A customer may drive past because another sign is 3 cents lower. That means the station owner can lose volume by charging too much and lose margin by charging too little. There is no comfortable answer. Price too high, and the customer disappears. Match every discount, and the profit disappears instead. Now look beneath the pavement. A gas station is not only a store and a canopy. It is also a fuel storage system containing tanks, pipes, valves, spill equipment, leak detection, and thousands of gallons of regulated material. Those underground tanks are part of the asset. They are also part of the liability. The owner must prevent spills, monitor for leaks, maintain records, inspect equipment, and demonstrate that money will be available if a release contaminates the property or damages someone else. A clean-looking station can hide an expensive problem underground. The pumps may work. The store may be profitable. But if an aging tank has been leaking slowly into the soil, the value of the land may already be moving in the opposite direction. This is the first financial trap. The property can become more valuable because of its traffic and less valuable because of what happened beneath it. Buying an old gas station, therefore, requires more than reading the income statement. The buyer needs environmental records, tank ages, inspection history, leak reports, insurance coverage, closure documentation, and a clear understanding of who is responsible for past contamination. A cheap station with bad soil is not necessarily a bargain. It may be an environmental invoice with a convenience store attached. Now, consider the physical investment. The operator needs tanks, pumps, payment terminals, a canopy, lighting, security cameras, signs, concrete, drainage, and enough space for delivery trucks to refill the tanks safely. If the site includes a convenience store, it also needs refrigeration, shelving, restrooms, a point-of-sale system, food equipment, storage, merchandise, and employees. Before the first profitable gallon is sold, millions of dollars may already be tied to land, construction, equipment, inventory, and financing. The fuel itself also consumes cash. A station selling 12,000 gallons in several days has to purchase the next delivery before all of the previous transactions have fully settled. When wholesale prices rise quickly, the same number of gallons requires more working capital. The tanks have not become larger. The business simply needs more cash to fill them. That is the second financial trap. Higher fuel prices can make revenue look larger while making the owner more dependent on working capital. Now, look at the first revenue layer. Gasoline generates the largest number on the sales report. A station may sell more than 100,000 gallons in a month, with each gallon producing a retail gross margin measured in cents. In 2025, NACS reported an industry gasoline gross margin of roughly 40 cents per gallon before operating expenses. That number sounds attractive until the expenses arrive. Card fees, equipment maintenance, fuel losses, delivery expenses, payroll, utilities, insurance, rent, and price competition all have to come out of that margin. More than 4 out of 5 pump transactions now involve a card. The customer may believe the station pays a normal percentage fee on an ordinary retail purchase. But when the fuel price rises, the dollar value of the transaction rises even if the station's cents per gallon margin does not. The card processor earns more from the larger ticket. The owner may not. This is why an expensive gallon of gasoline does not automatically create a happy gas station owner. The owner may be handling more money while keeping nearly the same number of cents. Fuel volume still matters. A few cents multiplied by millions of gallons can support a strong business. But this requires location, competitive pricing, reliable pumps, good supply contracts, and enough traffic to spread fixed costs across a large number of transactions. A low-volume station does not become profitable by posting a higher price. The higher price may reduce volume further. That creates a difficult loop. Weak volume requires a higher margin. The higher margin encourages customers to go somewhere else. The second revenue layer is packaged merchandise inside the store. Bottled drinks, energy drinks, snacks, candy, packaged food, automotive supplies, medicine, and household items usually carry better percentage margins than fuel. The customer is not only paying for the product, they are paying to avoid another stop. A bottle of water may cost less at a supermarket, but the supermarket requires parking, walking through a larger store, waiting a longer line, and adding several minutes to the journey. Convenience is the product. The merchandise is how the store charges for it. This makes the walk from the pump to the front door extremely important. A driver who pays outside and leaves produces only the fuel margin. A driver who enters for a drink, snack, or forgotten household item can turn the same fuel stop into a much more valuable transaction. The gas station, therefore, measures more than gallons. It measures how many fuel customers enter the store and how much they purchase once they are inside. The third revenue layer is beverages. Coffee, fountain drinks, frozen beverages, and other dispensed drinks can combine low ingredient costs with frequent demand. They also create habit. A driver may purchase gasoline once a week but stop for coffee every morning. That changes the station from a fuel destination into part of the customer's routine. The coffee counter is not just another shelf. It is a recurring traffic system, but it requires cleanliness, reliable equipment, fresh product, cups, lids, supplies, waste control, and employees who maintain the area throughout the day. A coffee program with poor execution does not create loyalty. It creates a reason to visit the station across the road. The fourth revenue layer is prepared food. Breakfast sandwiches, pizza, fried food, bakery products, and made-to-order meals can produce some of the strongest gross margins in the store. They can also transform the identity of the entire business. The customer may enter because the car needs fuel. The customer can eventually return because the food is good. That is a much stronger relationship. Fuel demand is tied to driving. Food demand can be created by the brand. This is why some of the best convenience store operators increasingly resemble restaurants with gasoline pumps outside. But food service introduces another operating system. The store now needs kitchen equipment, food safety procedures, temperature controls, employee training, preparation schedules, ingredient purchasing, cleaning, and waste management. A packaged snack can remain on the shelf. A breakfast sandwich becomes a loss when nobody buys it in time. Higher margins arrive with higher execution risk. The fifth revenue layer includes tobacco, lottery products, prepaid services, ATMs, money orders, and other transaction-based categories. Some of these items create frequent visits, but relatively limited direct profit. Their real value may be the customer traffic they produce. A lottery customer may also purchase coffee. A person using the ATM may add a snack. A tobacco customer may return several times each week. The store should not judge a category only by its direct margin. It should ask what else enters the basket. This is another reason the register matters. The strongest operators study combinations, not only individual items. They want to know whether fuel buyers purchase drinks, whether coffee customers add breakfast, and whether late-night traffic purchases different merchandise for morning commuters. A gas station with no customer data sees transactions. A strong retailer sees patterns. The sixth revenue layer can be a car wash. The same customer, location, water connection, payment system, and vehicle traffic can support another service. A car wash may increase the average value of a visit without requiring much additional retail floor space. But the equipment is expensive and maintenance sensitive. Cold weather, broken sensors, clogged systems, water restrictions, and long repair delays can turn a high-margin machine into an idle structure beside the store. Membership programs can improve the model by creating recurring payments. They also require enough local customers who pass the property repeatedly. A car wash beside a highway may see enormous traffic but weak repeat behavior. Once again, traffic alone is not enough. The correct traffic matters. Now, build a simple single-station model. Assume the station sells 120,000 gallons of fuel each month. If the average fuel gross margin is 35 cents per gallon before station operating expenses, fuel produces $42,000 of monthly gross profit. The convenience store generates another $120,000 in monthly sales. Assume $85,000 comes from packaged merchandise at a 32% gross margin, producing $27,200. The remaining $35,000 comes from food service and dispensed beverages at a 55% gross margin, producing another $19,250. Combined monthly gross profit is approximately $88,450. From the outside, that looks like a strong small business. Now subtract the operation. Payroll taxes, and management coverage cost $32,000. Rent or property debt costs $16,000. Utilities, pump maintenance, refrigeration repairs, cleaning, and waste removal consume $9,000. Card fees connected with fuel and store transactions cost approximately $11,000. Insurance, tank compliance, security, shrink, licenses, software, and administration consume another $11,000. The station is roughly $9,450 left each month before income taxes, owner compensation, major equipment replacement, and unexpected environmental work. That equals about $113,000 per year. The station may have processed more than $5 million in annual fuel and store sales. The owner kept a small fraction of it. The large revenue number was mostly money passing through the property. Now change one variable. A new competitor opens across the road and sells gasoline 5 cents cheaper. The owner can keep the existing price and risk losing volume, or reduce the price and protect traffic. Matching the competitor reduces fuel gross profit by $6,000 per month at the same 120,000 gallon volume. That is $72,000 per year. Nothing about the property appears different. The canopy is still bright. The pumps are still active. The store is still open. But most of the original operating profit has disappeared because one number on the roadside sign changed by 5 cents. That is the third financial trap. A tiny change visible to the customer can create a large change in the owner's annual income. Now change another variable. The station continues selling the same amount of fuel, but fewer customers enter the store. Maybe mobile payment makes it easier to remain at the pump. Maybe the restroom is dirty. Maybe the coffee program is weak. Maybe the store feels unsafe at night. If inside sales decline by 15%, the owner loses more than sales revenue. The highest margin part of the visit is shrinking while most store labor, rent, utilities, and equipment remain. The station can look busy from the road and weak in the ledger. Cars are moving through the property. They're simply not producing enough profitable behavior. This is why a long line at the pumps is not proof of a good business. The relevant question is what each visit contributes after every direct cost. Now add fuel price volatility. Suppose wholesale prices rise rapidly after the station has posted its street price. The operator may hesitate to increase the sign immediately because competitors have not moved yet. For several hours, or even a day, the station sells replacement inventory based on yesterday's price. The tanks become expensive to refill while the retail price remains behind. The station may record strong sales volume. Each gallon can still reduce the margin available to cover fixed costs. When wholesale prices later fall, the opposite problem can appear. The station may have expensive fuel underground while competitors lower their street prices. Matching them means selling the inventory at a compressed margin. Refusing to match them means watching customers drive away. The owner cannot control crude oil, refinery outages, pipeline disruptions, taxes, or the competitor's pricing strategy. But the owner must decide what number appears on the sign. That is not passive income. It is continuous inventory pricing. Now, consider equipment failure. One pump stops working during the morning rush. Customers move to the remaining lanes. Cars begin to queue, and some drivers leave rather than wait. If the payment network fails, every pump may become temporarily useless even though the tanks are full. If leak detection equipment reports a problem, the operator may need to stop using part of the system until it is inspected. A gas station sells reliability. The customer does not care that the property owns thousands of gallons underground if the pump cannot deliver them quickly and accept payment. Maintenance therefore protects more than machinery. It protects traffic habits. Once drivers learn that a station is slow, dirty, frequently out of fuel, or filled with broken pumps, they develop a new routine somewhere else. Repairing the equipment does not automatically repair the habit. Now look at theft and shrink. Fuel can disappear through measurement losses, drive-offs, equipment problems, or internal misconduct. Inside the store, small high-value products can leave without payment. Cash handling creates another risk. Late-night operations increase security costs and employee exposure. Closing overnight may reduce those risks, but it also gives up hours when competing stations remain available. The owner is constantly balancing sales opportunity against labor, safety, and loss. A 24-hour sign promises convenience to the customer. It promises an expensive staffing problem to the owner. Now look at the branded fuel agreement. A recognizable brand can provide signage, fuel standards, customer trust, loyalty programs, supply arrangements, and a national identity. But the relationship may also impose purchasing requirements, image standards, equipment upgrades, pricing conditions, or long-term contractual commitments. An independent station may have more flexibility. It may also lack the purchasing power, brand recognition, and customer programs of a large network. Neither model is automatically superior. The contract determines which freedoms were traded for which advantages. This is why buyers must read beyond the store sales report. The fuel supply agreement, property lease, franchise terms, branding obligations, equipment ownership, and termination clauses may control the business more than the person standing behind the counter. Now look at Mountain Express Oil. Mountain Express built a large fuel distribution and retail network serving hundreds of locations across multiple states. Its growth strategy included acquiring properties, selling many of them to a real estate capital partner, and leasing them back for continued operation. The strategy released capital. It also replaced property ownership with long-term rent obligations. By the time of its 2023 bankruptcy filing, the company's court declaration described 286 properties involved in the sale-leaseback relationship and a broader network serving 855 fueling and travel center locations. From a road that looked like scale, behind the signs, the company was carrying a complicated system of leases, fuel contracts, dealer relationships, and store operations. The filing stated that unprofitable convenience store operations had created a continuing cash drain. The company faced a liquidity shortfall affecting rent, while amendments added $10 million to future rent obligations and increased rent under the relevant leases by 10% per year. This is what failure can look like in the gas station industry. The locations may still have traffic. The fuel suppliers may still deliver. Customers may still purchase drinks and gasoline. But the cash generated at the store level is no longer sufficient for the rent, contracts, debt, and operating structure built above it. The pumps are working. The capital structure is not. That is the fourth financial trap. A gas station can be operationally busy and financially unavailable to its own owner. Sale-leasebacks can release capital for expansion, but they also turn owned real estate into a recurring obligation. When sales weaken or operating costs rise, the rent does not care that the gallon margin became smaller. A strong location may survive weak management. A weak balance sheet can still lose control of the strong location. Now compare that with Casey's. Casey's also sells enormous quantities of fuel, but its filings reveal why the store matters so much. Over its 3 most recent reported fiscal years, prepared food, dispensed beverages, grocery items, and general merchandise generated roughly 1/3 of revenue, but about 63% of revenue, less cost of goods sold. Prepared food and dispensed beverages produced an average ratio of approximately 58%. That changes how the company thinks about the property. The pumps create frequency and traffic. The kitchen creates differentiation. A competitor can copy the fuel price. It is harder to copy a familiar pizza program, morning food routine, private label assortment, loyalty relationship, and distribution network across thousands of stores. The strongest version of a gas station, therefore, does not ask only how many gallons it sold. It asks how many customers entered, what they bought, whether they returned, and which part of the visit cannot be replaced by a cheaper sign across the street. Fuel is the traffic engine. Food and convenience create the customer relationship. Now compare the weak version with the strong version. The weak operator watches the street price, orders fuel, fills the coolers, and assumes that a busy road will solve the rest. The store carries too many slow products. The restroom is neglected. The coffee is inconsistent. The employees are scheduled only to minimize payroll, even when lines are long and shelves are empty. The operator believes fuel volume is the business. The strong operator studies the entire visit. The station is easy to enter, clean, bright, safe, and fast. The pumps work reliably. The store carries products matched to local traffic, while food is prepared around actual day parts instead of remaining under a heat lamp until it becomes waste. The operator measures fuel gallons, cents per gallon, store conversion, average basket, food waste, labor per transaction, loyalty activity, and inventory turnover. Same gasoline, different business. The strong operator also understands the customer by time of day. Morning traffic may want coffee, breakfast, and speed. Afternoon traffic may want cold drinks, snacks, and fuel. Evening traffic may respond to prepared meals, beer where legally permitted, and household items that prevent a separate trip. Late-night traffic creates sales opportunities, but also higher security and staffing risk. The property is not one business all day. It becomes several small businesses across the same 24 hours. Now ask what a sophisticated buyer measures before purchasing a station. They study traffic counts, access, competing prices, gallons sold, fuel margin history, store sales, food service mix, labor, card fees, and the length of the supply agreement. They inspect tank age, environmental records, insurance, pump ownership, canopy condition, refrigeration, drainage, and deferred maintenance. They examine the lease. They ask whether the operator owns the land, rents the land, or owns the business while someone else controls the property underneath it. They also ask whether inside sales are strong because of repeat customers or because one temporary construction project created traffic that will disappear next year. Ordinary buyers see pumps and gallons. Sophisticated buyers see a controlled intersection, a regulated storage system, a retail conversion rate, and a piece of real estate with both commercial and environmental history. That is the real asset. Now consider the future. Electric vehicles will not make every gas station disappear at the same time. Most EV owners complete much of their charging at home, while public charging serves highway travel, urban drivers, workplaces, shopping destinations, and people who cannot charge where they live. But charging changes the visit. A gasoline customer may remain on the property for 5 minutes. A fast-charging customer may remain much longer. That longer visit can create more time for food, coffee, restrooms, shopping, and services. It can also create parking congestion and require expensive electrical upgrades. Installing chargers is not the same as installing another fuel pump. The operator may need utility capacity, transformers, construction, charging equipment, software, maintenance, and a pricing agreement that works despite electricity demand charges. A station with weak electrical access may be poorly positioned. A station with strong power, good food, safe restrooms, and a useful location may turn charging time into a new retail opportunity. The future winner may not be a gasoline station or an electric charging station. It may be an energy and convenience site that earns money from whatever makes the vehicle stop. That future makes the store even more important. If gasoline demand gradually declines, a station relying only on cents per gallon has little protection. A station with strong food service, a car wash, parcel pickup, charging, loyalty, clean facilities, and dependable local traffic has more ways to survive. The energy product can change. The value of a location can remain. So can owning a gas station make you rich? Yes, but probably not because gasoline is expensive. The good version controls a convenient site, purchases fuel intelligently, maintains the tanks and pumps, converts drivers into store customers, builds a food program, controls labor and shrink, and keeps enough cash available for volatile inventory. The bad version sees millions of dollars flowing through the pumps and mistakes that flow for profit. It competes only on price, neglects the store, underestimates card fees, postpones equipment work, ignores environmental history, and signs leases or supply contracts that the operating cash flow cannot support. From the road, both stations may look almost identical. A tall sign, a bright canopy, cars beside the pumps, a convenience store behind the glass. But one is turning a necessary fuel purchase into a profitable customer relationship. The other is moving enormous amounts of money for everyone except the owner. That difference is invisible in the price per gallon. It appears in the ledger after the tanker leaves. So if you decide to own a gas station, understand what you are actually buying. You are buying underground tanks that can store valuable inventory or create a cleanup obligation. You are buying fuel whose wholesale price can change before the number on your sign catches up. You're buying a payment system that charges a fee every time a customer fills a larger tank. You are buying employees, refrigeration, kitchens, restrooms, lights, security, inventory, and a property that must remain available when customers need it. Most importantly, you are buying a moment in which a moving customer agrees to stop. You thought the business was selling gasoline, but gasoline is only what brings the vehicle onto the property. The gasoline is not the business. Converting a necessary stop into a profitable visit is.